world of Sekiro is punishing and unforgiving. Progress does not come easily, and you better be prepared to die a lot more than twice. It's no secret the game is difficult, perhaps too difficult, but that's a question for another episode. If you stay determined, you'll get better, you'll beat that boss, and you'll live to see the credits roll. Or if you're an absolute madman like I am, you'll play through the game 4 times to see the credits roll to all 4 of Sekiro's different endings. Like From Software's other games, the endings of Sekiro are vague and often require a long, convoluted series of steps to achieve. Seriously though, do you know how many people I had to eavesdrop on to get this bell? Like, come on! But that's not what we're here to talk about. What I wanted to figure out is which one of the endings is the best to follow if From Software ever makes a sequel to this game. To do this, I'm going to go through all 4 endings and assess them based on how they would affect the gameplay and plot for a possible sequel. First off, what even happens in all the endings? The first ending is the Shura ending, where Sekiro refuses to break the Iron Code and betrays Kuro. After killing Emma, Isshin Ashina, and the great shinobi Owl, Sekiro is overcome with bloodlust and becomes Shura, going on a rampage and killing thousands. I'll explain later what Shura actually is, but the second ending is the Immortal Severance ending. In this ending, you stay loyal to Lord Kuro. After going to the Divine Realm and collecting tears from the Divine Dragon, you're able to grant Kuro's wish to sever immortality by killing him with the Mortal Blade. Sekiro then takes the place of the recently disappeared sculptor, and as far as we know, continues to sculpt until the end of his days. The third ending is the Purification ending. After Sekiro fights his father in a memory, he gets a branch from the Everblossom. With this, he is able to sever Kuro's immortality without killing him, instead sacrificing his own life so that Kuro can live as a normal boy. The final ending is the Return ending. After helping the Divine Child of Rejuvenation become the Vessel, she gives Sekiro frozen tears, which he ends up giving to Kuro along with the Divine Dragon tears to put him into a coma. The Divine Child then makes Kuro disappear, then she and Sekiro set off on a journey to the west. That was just the basics of each ending, but what effect do these endings have on the overall story, and how would they change a sequel that were to continue off of them? The Shura ending is by far the worst of the endings. It would be very difficult to make a sequel without any of the prominent characters from the original game, since Sekiro became Shura and kills, everyone. Shura is actually the Japanese word for the Buddhist demigod Asura. Asuras are powerful, inhumane creatures that fight in an endless war, killing anything and everything that stands in their way. That's a very basic explanation, but for the sake of this video, that's all you really need to know. The reason I mention this is because after Ashura dies, they go to a realm called Shura-Do, one of the 6 worlds of Hell, where the Shuras fight in an endless battle with each other. The sequel could possibly follow Sekiro in his battles in Shura-Do. It would be a brutal and difficult game where Sekiro battles for supremacy against the most evil and powerful beings to ever live. The more I think about it, the more I think it might actually be a pretty good idea. It would certainly fit the unforgiving difficulty of games FromSoft likes to make. The Immortal Severance ending would also fit very well with the type of game FromSoft likes to make. Their most popular series, the Dark Souls trilogy, follows a cycle of light and dark. Every game features a protagonist who tries to relight a fire known as the First Flame, which is fading, and if it fades completely, the world will be swallowed by darkness. The Immortal Severance ending of Sekiro follows a cycle as well. The sculptor, who was once known as Orangutan, was a great warrior, but became violent and full of bloodlust. His close friend Isshin Ashina saw this, and cut off his arm before he could completely give in to his bloodlust and become Shura. Isshin's hope was that if Orangutan could not fight, he would not become Shura, but another close friend of Orangutan, Dogen, designed a prosthetic arm for him, and he continued to fight. He would eventually neglect the prosthetic arm, but it was too late. He spent the rest of his days carving statues of the Buddha, trying to appease the gods and atone for his sins, but it was not enough. Near the end of the game, the sculptor finally gives in to his bloodlust and becomes the demon of hatred. By the end of the game, you end up in the same position as the sculptor. Having used the same prosthetic arm to kill so many, you now sit where he once did, endlessly carving statues until the day you inevitably give in to your bloodlust. If the sequel to Sekiro were to follow this ending, it would feature a new protagonist who has lost their arm. After receiving the prosthetic arm from Sekiro, or some other sculptor, since any number of cycles could have passed before this one, the game would follow this new protagonist on their quest. This quest could be pretty much anything, and would leave FromSoft with a lot more to work with. The main problem is that there would no longer be a revival mechanic to the game, since Sekiro severed all types of immortality by killing Kuro. The Purification ending could follow Kuro on his journey to the west to pursue a normal life. Any number of things could go wrong during this quest, and the game would follow his journey to overcome these hardships. It could also take place at a later time after Kuro has grown up. Like the Immortal Severance ending, there would not be a revival mechanic to this either, unless maybe it was found that Kuro's immortality had not been properly severed. This ending is also pretty open-ended and has plenty to work with. The return ending is by far the most vague, but also the easiest for a sequel. The game would follow Sekiro and the Divine Child on their quest to find the birthplace of the Divine Dragon. It's unclear exactly what happened to Kuro when the Divine Child made him disappear, but I believe that the two of them became one, and that Kuro is still alive inside of her, along with all the other Divine Children who failed to take form. What they're trying to accomplish by taking Kuro to the birthplace of immortality is unclear, and a lot of things seem intentionally left out by the developers to be revealed at a later time. With all that theorizing out of the way, which ending is the true canon ending? There's no way to know for sure, and we've theorized on possible sequels to all the endings, but I'm going to rank them in order based on how likely each ending is to be the true ending. The clear number 1 for me is the return ending, because it's the only one that would be able to keep the same mechanics as the first game. Second for me is the Immortal Severance ending, since it follows the circle story pattern FromSoft is known for. Third is the Purification ending, and last is the Shura ending. Once again, nothing is certain, and this is just my educated guess based on the research I've done. Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments, I look forward to reading them. I'm sure DLC is planned for Sekiro in the near future, and maybe more would be made clear after that, so perhaps we'll be revisiting this topic at another time. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.